which brings me to my next point. The motherfuckers work hard. The motherfuckers work hard, man. They get out here, they bust ass, they got their head down, whatever. And quietly, they build in numbers. By any means necessary, legally or illegally, quote unquote. I mean, you know, when you get into like statutory law and statutes and stuff, I mean, you can feel how you want to feel about immigration, but I think that's kind of barking up the wrong tree when you feel like these motherfuckers don't belong here, because it's literally their land. Anyway, my phone's running out of memory, so I'm trying to create space. I done lost my whole train of thought not my whole train of thought, but I was in a groove there before shit kept stopping for me to free up space. Anyway, they work hard, you know, and they got their head down or whatever, and they build in numbers. You know, I've been in Charlotte, in and out of Charlotte, but I'm from Charlotte, so I've been in Charlotte, you know, my whole life. And I've seen where, you know, parts of town were previously, you know, it's more or less like this was the white side, and this was this, and this was that, and whatever. And I've seen it kind of change hands from white to black, Now I'm seeing the Browns lay claim to certain sides of town, and and they loyal to one another. So, you know, the Mexican bodegas or the Hispanic joints, this and that. And this is the only thing nigga be kind of salty about, but not salty, but I kind of feel some kind of way about. But I get it. I mean, they just loyal. They loyal to themselves, and that is, say in Charlotte, you know, and specifically on the east side of Charlotte, off the plaza, whatnot. I've seen, you know, basically, I remember being one of the handful of black kids in my neighborhood. You know, wasn't but a handful of us. So we were all playing together. And then I saw, you know, and had some white kids here and there playing with us. And then I saw, as we were coming in, I saw basically whites leaving, white flight, right? Motherfuckers was getting the fuck out of Dodge, moving on to bigger and better things, building whatever the next, you know, building up South Charlotte or whatever. University got built up, other sides of town. White folk left, you know what I mean? And so the neighborhood essentially became black. And at least as far as like the residences and stuff. But now I'm seeing, okay, the neighborhoods went through their phases, whatever. Now I'm seeing like more Browns or whatever move in or whatever. But I'm looking at the businesses. And what I'm seeing with the businesses, the Mexicans are coming in, or the Hispanics or whomever, the Browns are coming in, and they shape-shifting, they moving, they shifting the neighborhood, they shifting the culture of the neighborhood, they taking out, they taking up the rent in some of these old rinky-dink buildings that nobody wanted to be in, that the white folk left, that the black folk had for a while, didn't want to be in no more, didn't want to rent or whatever. Who knows who owns them? Joe Schmo, white guy who don't want to fix them or whatever. The motherfuckers was taking up the rent in there and fixing them up and making it into what it is. You know what I mean? In some cases, they probably maybe bought the place. I don't know, but money was spent for sure. You know what I mean? And they fuck with their own. They support their own. They hire their own. You know, you're not going to see gangs of Mexicans, by gangs, I mean bunches of Mexicans, you know, in the soul food spot supporting this, I'm just a generic black restaurant, in the soul food spot supporting. You're not going to see gangs of Hispanic folk in the black club, you know what I mean, trying to, you know, do that. You know what I mean? They They in their own shit. They buy from their own. They support their own. They shop with their own. And they only hire their, by all intents and purposes, they hire their own. You know what I mean? And like I said about feeling some kind of way, it's like the only way I feel some kind of way is that, if you are black, you've been in this side of town your whole life, and you couldn't get a job with the white folk. Now you can't get a job in their establishment either. I mean, you can shop there, but you're not gonna get no work. But yeah, all it really speaks to too is that they really fuck with their own. They're gonna take care of their own before they take care of anybody else. Whether that's employing or shopping, you know what I mean? And I wish black people borrowed some pages out of these books that I've been saying. Like, I wish black people were more willing to pull their money together, shack up, be disciplined, exercise fiscal frugality, and exercise putting a plan together to do this for X amount of time, executing it, and then moving on to the next phase of the plan, which is what I see that they're doing when they move in, and this and that. Now, whatever that looks like, whether you want a bunch of monogamous families sharing a spot, whether you want polygamy, whatever. But black people is like, they just so caught up in imitating whatever the white folk is doing. You know what I mean? And black folk not in a position to imitate the white folk in every aspect of white life. Like, so all this hypergamy, all this frivolous name brand shit, and won't, like, Mexicans ain't even giving a fuck about, Hispanics not even giving a fuck about Balenciaga and what the fuck motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Like, they just stand in their lane at their level. If Jordache is what they can afford and Wranglers, that's what the fuck they rocking. If they got J money, Jordan money, they rocking some Jordans. You don't see them trying to stretch. I mean, motherfuckers will wear that bootleg shit before they